What's up guys, Spin Firearms here, and today we're going to talk about the SIG P-365 chambered in 380 with the manual safety, optics ready, that I ended up with. And I'm going to tell the story how I ended up with it, how I felt throughout the whole entire thing, and so on, because it's actually pretty interesting, and honestly I'm not the happiest about it, but it is what it is, right? So I went to the local range, and I was looking for something that I can compare with my FN 503. Now I already have other pocket pistols that are true pocket pistols, like the Diamondback DB9, Gen 4, Taurus Spectrum, what else? Ruger LCP Max, and so on. And I wanted something that I could compare with my FN 503. I could pocket carry it and see how it holds up against my FN 503. The FN 503 is one of the #1 firearms on my channel that people talk down on. They say they hate the grip, they say it doesn't have capacity, they say it's outdated, they say the new reflex makes it so it's not a viable option. But my #1 response is, guys, if you know what my FN 503 has been through, it's been hit by a vehicle, it's been ran over, it's been slammed on concrete on accident, it's literally taken the beating of a lifetime. I fell off a ladder from like 6-7 feet right onto it, and it runs. I've shot it with sawdust flying out of the whole firearm all over the place, dust, sawdust, wood, and it ran flawlessly. I've shot it after not cleaning it for like 2 or 3 weeks of pocket carry at my aunt's house, ran 100% flawlessly. It was unbelievable. Now, I went to the local range looking for the LCP. I wanted to test out the original LCP because I know people who have had really good luck with them, and they pocket carry them at work, and they've lasted, and they've held up pretty decently. And so that's what I went for, and I was going to start pocket carrying an LCP and just seeing how it can handle the elements, how it can handle the moisture, the dust, getting dirty, getting beat up, and so on. So it was pretty interesting. And so when I go to do that, the person's like, no man, that's so pointless, you don't want the LCP. Trust me, you don't want it. He's like, check this out. And he's doing his job, he's a salesman, right? And he takes me to the SIG section, and I'm like, oh my goodness, here we go. And he's like, get a SIG P-365, man, trust me, they're awesome. I'm like, I have a P-365 in 9mm, I have an XL, and I have an X macro build. And I'm not the biggest fan of any of them, but I do like the original P-365 with the X frame on it. I do carry that every now and then, and it's pretty decent. Well, we started talking, and he was asking me about what exactly I'm using it for. And I was like, pocket carry, going on walks with my family, summer carry, stuff like that. But I also wanted to take it and torture test it a little bit at work and see how it holds up. Therefore, for all the people saying, just get a P-365, why do you have an FN? Why do you have a Glock 43X? Why do you have a 26? Get the SIG P-365, which is people's #1 response to any video I make is get this. It's the ultimate carry option and so on. But nothing about this excites me, right? So here's why. I have the 9mm and I shoot it great. So I don't need to step down to 380, but I did. And I get really nervous about the SIG P-365s, any SIG in general, and their triggers, especially with pocket carrying and especially going on walks with my family. My kids are at waist height, so I definitely don't want something going off. So that's where the manual safety came in. And of course, if you get the manual safety with SIG, it's going to come optics ready, which I'll never put an optic on this firearm ever for the rest of my life. But you end up having to pay for that, right? But at the same time, I got the firearm for at cost price because you get one of those a year at the local range I go to if you have a certain membership. But I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't really want the P-365. I don't want it. He's like, trust me, the value is worth it. It's going to last long. It's going to handle whatever. More than the Ruger. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm starting to think, okay, maybe he's right. And then at the same time, I'm fighting, and I'm like, but I can't stand this firearm. Not a big fan of it. I don't need 380, but it was the only one with a manual safety. And if I'm going to pocket carry this, it's going to be with a manual safety. So then from there, in my mind, I started thinking, okay, since everyone always comments this is the best option for pocket carry and all that, let's see how it holds up. Because my other P-365 went back to SIG, and on top of that, it had rust issues. Now I want to make sure the firearm's reliable before carrying it, but I want to see how this holds up against my FN 503. I want to see if this can handle what my 503 can. Because that's the problem with some of these Micro 9s, in my opinion, is they were built to be light. They were built to be able to put a lot of capacity in there, but still be thin. Therefore, they lack the amount of material other single stacks used to have on them. Single stacks used to weigh a little bit more than these Micro 9s, the average ones at least. And I just feel like my FN 503 is built like an absolute tank, and I'd rather have something that can take a beating but still go bang when you need it, rather than something with more capacity that probably can't take the same abuse. And it can't. When you feel the two firearms, you're like, there's no way that my FN 503 can't outlast the SIG. And simply just the way it's built. It's nothing against the SIG, it's just the way Micro 9s were designed to have little weight, butt capacity, but also have a very small footprint or surface area. But I ended up with this, and I'm filling out the background check, and I'm like, oh, Really, I just another $250 and I ended up with this, but I think it's a great comparison to make. And I think I'm going to be able to prove something with this, that my FN503 is a real contender because it can take a beating that most firearms can't. And of course, we're only talking about one scenario, which is pocket carrying while doing a job that I do, like what I do for a living, basically. And so I know that it might not apply to everyone else's life, but I think it's still a good test and a good comparison to see what a Micro 9 can truly handle if it really is meant to be able to thrive in those situations when they're covered in sawdust, and especially the SIG out of all firearms. Will the FCU be able to handle getting gunked up, getting beat up? And so that I just thought it ended up being a good idea. Am I happy about this? No. Is there anything about this that excites me? No. Do I shoot P-365 series good? Yes, I absolutely do. They have nice triggers and everything. And I will be using the manual safety, so I have to practice with that manual safety. But I think it's going to be a great experiment. Love my FN503. I'm not the biggest fan of the P-365, but it is a great firearm. So we're about to find out. This firearm made no sense. But ended up with it, so it is what it is. Thanks for watching.